hello, and welcome. Shoi fihi. Shoi hello, fihi, welcome. Oh, this is an old video I made 2 years ago. I have been studying Lojban since 1996. I was already pretty fluent in it 2 years ago. I already made you a bunch of videos, Minecraft, but we're gonna keep going. And there's gonna be so many videos. I gotta get the sound right. Okay. The sound thing is right. Okay. What we are going to do is more practice putting the verb at the front of the sentence. That's all. So we're going to learn a few different sentence shapes, really. There's, okay, sipna, bami. So sipna, sleep, the verb comes first. And then to say who's sleeping, we have to get back to it with fa. Sipna, fami. Okay. Klama, fami. I chasli. I zhibni, falo chasli. Near is a donkey. Zhibni can be near in any property. So being nearby is actually zvajbi. Zvajbi falo chasli. Ishmoni falo chasli. The donkey is here. The donkey says something in the way that donkeys say. Donkeys don't skuna. I mean, you could say that the donkey skuna zohoi. But, okay. Trishu falos pati. Trishu falos sekatna. It's a tree. There's a plant. The tree is cut. Trishu falos spati. Falo sekatna. I katna falo kahamru. The axe is cutting. Katna is what the axe does. Shoi hirma isanli falo hirma. Standing is what the horse does. The horse is standing. Klama fami loshange. I go to the farm. Klama fami loshange. I go to the farm. Or I can say Klama roshange fami. Go to the farm. I go to the farm. Going to the farm is me. Going to the farm I am. You can only kind of say that in English. In Lojban, all of the orders are okay. I would say that subject, verb, object is the default. Like, mi klama lo pordi. I go to the cultivated field. I go to the garden. Mi klama lo pordi. But verb, subject, object, what is it? Verb, subject, object. Is that the, wait, verb, yeah. Klama, fami, lo pordi. The fa gets us back around to the beginning, and then we can subject, verb, object it up. I los pati, shubanro. I banro falot pati. The plants grow banro. Banro doesn't mean like the growing as in the plant development. I don't know a specific term for that. Banro is literally as simple as to get larger. Banro, to grow. I banro falomi purdi. My garden is growing. Banro falomi purdi. The me there is in a special, that's a special grammar. We were teaching someone on the we were teaching someone on Rosh Fogohe, and they're like, that's not a tanru or something, where if I say lomipurdi, my garden, it's not a tanru, it's a nothing, except they felt like letting you put a noun in between the article. If you put a noun in between the article, lo, and the verb that the article is nominalizing, in this case, purdi, garden, then you get it's equivalent to saying pet afterwards, which does, I mean, maybe you don't know what either of those mean now, but now you at least they mean the same as each other. So that's, I feel like you're making progress here. So it's fine. I'm planting la zactastani y mi sombo to sow. Sombo. I don't know any other word for, like, if you're planting if you're planting a seedling. I think that's still sombo, but you can sombo a seed. Sombo lo xarju. For me, I plant a seed, or you can sombo a plant. Sombo la stani. For me, the stock. Plant a stock. Milos Bati. Okay, that's totally different. No, alright, we're putting the verb first. Okay, you can also put the verb last. You can put the verb wherever you want. But, okay, let's see. How are we putting this verb first? Sombo. 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 Fa. Me. Then the fa gets us back to the sombo. Me, the sombo. Sombo. Fa. Me. Sombo los pati fa mi. Sombo fa mi los pati. So we can also, you can say fe to get to the direct object, which we call the x2 or bohe. Sometimes it's the bohe is the thing, the x2 thing, or sometimes we put the verb and then we put a little to after to mean the thing that goes in the to place of the verb. These are all different silly ways that we refer to the direct object. It's just a direct object. They're just verbs. They're kind of weird, but they are just verbs, and they just go with the barna spots. Lo kirma falo se barna. I don't. It's when you try to translate. Sometimes Lojban sentences like you have to translate that as like the horse has spots, but I made the main verb of the sentence khirma, to be a horse, and then I made a noun lo se barna, a thing which has marks upon it. I think that's how Barna works, right? Barna, yeah, marks on, oh, we get a material place. Whatever. You can ignore the material places plenty much. I mean, if you feel like using it, if you want to say terbaha, go for it. But people might need to look in the dictionary and be like, wait, there's a third place to Barna? There's a Barna 3, as we put a little 3 after Barna. There's a terbaha, because Barna gets, it would be terbarna, but you can also say terbaha because it has the short form baha. But so a terbaha is what a material is made of. But I mean the material that a spot is made of. But but where the spot is the terbaha. So I was saying khirma falosil baha, which is the main verb of the sentence as horse, and then it also, as well as horse, it also puts the it also puts a noun other as well as horse. because horse is the verb. Xarju follows spati. Xarju is the verb to be a tree, to xarju, and then spati, to be a plant, also a verb, but we make it into a noun by going lo spati. A noun, that's a thing that would go in the x1 of spati. Chasli faroshmoni. Donkey is the moaner. I feel funny translating shmoni every time, but it's totally sensible. Shpana lo chasli lo toknu. The donkey is on the oven. Shpana lo chasli lo toknu. Ma segasnu Ma segasnu means what is it that should be done? Okay, but let's put the verb at the beginning. And this is when you're speaking, you'll just not. I just naturally come out with sentences like this. But if we take segasnu and then I said with the noun at the front, and the noun is ma. The noun ma means what is it that would go here at the question. It means a thing such that I am curious what it is. Can you please tell me what it is? So, ma, and then segasnu, because gasnu ma would be would put the ma in the second place of gasnu. But if you say ma segasnu, then you can turn it around like that. And then, but we wanted to have the verb first. So let's start with the verb, segasnu, or selgao, and then equivalent. Selgao is equivalent to segasnu. And then selgao being the verb, and then hee-haw, and then next, after that's the verb, we say fa to get to ma, to get to the x1. Now, if we say selgao and then say fa to get to the x1, what we go to is the x2 of gasnu. Is that confusing? Yes, because it means two different things. The x2 of gasnu is the same as the x1 of selgao, because selgao is another place structure, another predicate that's the opposite of gasnu. Gasnu says x1 does x2, and selgao is another verb that means furta falo khirma, floating is a horse. So selgao is another predicate that means x1 is a thing that's done by x2. It's the reverse of gasnu, but also but it does, like, it is the reverse. It really does reverse it, and now it's reversed. And now we go the other way around because we've reversed. So now the selgao is the thing done. And if we say selgao as the main verb and then say fa, then we get to the gasnu 2, the thing that's normally the x2 of gasnu, but now it's the x1 of selgao. Is that confusing? Sure, it's confusing if I explain it. If I didn't explain it, you wouldn't even know to be confused. You would just accidentally understand it, because it sounds right. Masagastnu, what is it that is done? Or I was saying, what is it that should be done? But I marked it with an A, which is A marks something that is the way that things should be. So it, I think of A as being equivalent to zgadi, which zgadi describes, says the way, this is, what do we have for A? Obligation, okay. I think of A as like zgadi, but I don't know if that's exactly. You tell me. Is that what you think A means? Is it the same as gadi, or what verb is generally? Shnemaho will be, there will be a verb that it's the same as. It's generally Yi means to be scared. I mean, A is the same as Einmo, but is Einmo also the same as Gadi? I mean, says Gadi or whatever. So, if you have selgao as the verb, then fa gets you to the selgao, to the thing done. A selgao is a thing done. So if you say selgao and then you say fa, the fa brings you to the thing done. Right now the thing done is katna. So gasnu pakatna, or selgao fapukatna. Done is to cut. The thing done is cutting. Selgao fapukatna. Selgao falnukatna. It's I mean, it's a whole, it seems complicated if you think about it a bunch. If you think about it, then you're like, wait, it's like we're moving around the things, and you can both move things around with set, te, ve, che, and also you can move things around with fa. That sounds complicated, and you don't have to use more than one at a time if you don't want to. If that feels complicated, then just use one or the other, or neither. Make your sentences go however you want. But so we can just make our sentences go. We don't have to use set and turn things around. We can just make our sentences straightforward, like Paisley follow furta, leaves are floating. Because, I mean, I translated it with leaves as a noun, but leaves is the main verb of the sentence. Paisley follow furta. The leaves are the main verb, and then there's a noun, a floating thing. I've really nouned you can noun whichever things you want in Lojban. In English, you have to choose which ones are the nouns, and if you've got only nouns, then you can like equate them. And if you've got only verbs, then you gotta like convert one of them and be like, all right, well, this is a thing that's doing, to make the verb go with the other noun. So, but in Lojban, you can make it whatever. Whichever thing can noun or verb, however you want it to noun or verb, it's fine. Like, if we can make a sentence with xarju as the verb, xarju, peg. If you might not understand all of Lojban if you could listen to these, but you should know that xarju means pig if you see enough of them, because I keep telling you that xarju means pig, and chasli means donkey. Good thing there's a donkey here, so you can learn donkey. Chasli. Chasli falo shmoni. Chasli falo zvajbi. Chasli. I chasli. Donkey, donkey, donkey. So that's how we end it. That's why it's the like observative idea makes sense from an English perspective. Observatives meaning this old idea that like a sentence that would just started with a verb was like observing, because like if you say ichasli, itrishu, then that's pretty simple in Lojban, and then when you go to translate it into English, what did I just say? I said there's a donkey, there's a donkey, there's a donkey, there's a tree, there's a tree, there's a tree. That's sort of how that's just trying to translate it, trying to make some English sense out of it. Ichasli, there's a donkey, there's a donkey. So that's what they were like. I guess that's an observative sentence where you're like, hey, there's a donkey. But also, like, if you were talking abstractly, you're like, oh, yeah, and theoretically in this situation, what might happen? ichasli. Well, that in that sense, and then you would translate it. Theoretically, there could be a donkey, but so, but in Lojban, it really is just a sentence that just goes, donkey, itrishu, tree, and the sentence really is just tree, and the verb, that's the verb. It's a sentence that says something trees, by which I mean be a tree, something is a tree. Tanche, itanche, ishkana, is zbajvu, workbench, zbajvu, vasru, thing that contains, tanche, box, shkana, ishkana, bed. So shkana is a perfectly good sentence with a verb at the front. The verb is bed. So, I mean, we can use English verby verbs like klama, a goer, also is verby in English, and so it makes sense to you if klama is the main verb, because it's like a sentencey sentence that means to go. But it's the same thing if the main sentence is chirma, a horse, to be a horse. I chirma, I klama, there is a horse. There is a going one who goes from somewhere to somewhere. I xarju, I xrula, I klama, I shitka. There's a pig. Wait, what did I say? I xarju, I xrula, there's a pig, there's a flower. I klama, I shitka. There's someone who goes, there's someone who eats. I lanme. There's a sheep. Ilanme. Ilolanme. Shushadzu. Ishadzu. Falolanme. The sheep walks. Ishadzu. Falolanme. The sheep walks. I klamama falolanme. The sheep. Where does the sheep go? I have to think about it. In English, you got to like rearrange it, but in Lojban, you say the same order. The lanme shuklama lo lalchu korbi. The sheep goes to the edge of the lake. Lo lanme shuklama lo lalchu korbi. So the lake, so we can put the verb first, go, klama, falolanme, lo lalchu korbi. The sheep goes to the edge of the lake. Or we can say klama lo lalchu korbi, falolanme. Goes to the I mean, it's the translation is the same because you don't rearrange things in English. So if we do a bunch of rearranging and then translate it, we got to translate it back into we got to rearrange it all to the same way. Lo lanme shuklama lo lalchu korbi. The sheep goes to the water's edge. Klama lo lalchu korbi falolanme. A sheep goes to the lake's edge. I klama lo lalchu korbi falolanme. I klama falolanme lo lalchu korbi. I falolalchu korbi falolanme shuklama. The sheep goes to the lake's edge. So English makes you always do it the same way. So that's why we have to practice all different sentence shapes. There's a little more. That's it. There's a little more practice with some putting the verb first. Verbs like toknu, to be an oven. Toknu falo zvajvi. Oven is a nearby thing is an oven, but it's oven the verb. toknu first, and then fa to get to the x1 place of toknu, the thing that does the ovening. Toknu follow zvažby, at near, because there's various kinds of near, and specifically it's at near, the kind of near that's when you're at, nearly at. Toknu follows zvažby. Okay, it's a little more practice with putting the verb first. It'll be if that's what you really need to speak Lojban, is not to understand everything, but just some practice, some different sentence shapes until it starts to make sense. Shoho rodo. Bye everybody. Shoho rodo.